Everyone, and welcome back to the NPC Dungeon. Today, we're talking all about player engagement and some tricks that I use to keep my players immersed and engaged in my games. Now, if you've been with me for a while, you might know that I've already covered this topic actually quite a bit, and even though those videos are quite old, this is not meant to be a replacement for them. I actually quite like those older videos and highly recommend them. Today's video is kind of meant to be a supplement to those with additional pieces of advice that I learned along the way. But don't worry, if you haven't seen those, you don't have to understand this one, as I'll actually be taking a look back at some of those older points as well. But if you want to, I will leave a card to the playlist those videos are on if you like. That being said, this video is going to be more of a discussion of some of the things that I like to do to keep my players immersed and engaged rather than a discrete list. But with all that out of the way, let's get started and let's learn something. I'm going to start out with something that you can do before the campaign even starts, and it's often the place where I start when talking about player engagement: backstory. Now, I just released a video all about how to work player backstory in your campaigns, so I'll leave a link in the card to that one if you want to really get in detail on that topic. But for today, I won't be talking as much about how to do it as why it works. And to do that, I'm going to use an example. You could just say that your players are supposed to defeat a big bad monster, but where's the motivation? And rather than just assigning motivation, which is practically the same as writing their backstories for them, something you should never ever do by the way, look at the motivations that your players came up with for their backstories, written into their backstories, and intertwine that with the plot. Maybe one of your players is trying to avenge their village that was destroyed. Maybe it was destroyed by the monster. Maybe another player is a scientist. You could very easily say they are sent to study the monster, and the list goes on. The point is that this method works with what your players want, which for me sounds much more fun, and when I'm having more fun, I tend to be more engaged in the game. Additionally, this puts them in the world at the start and allows them to be part of it. Any motivations that they have will by definition be in lockstep with the story. In the same vein, I also like to pull from previous decisions the players made and make the world really interactable. This could be as simple as different places to go in town, or as complex as bringing up old decisions that the players have made in the past. Maybe the players brutally interrogated an NPC in front of a follower of theirs. You might have this follower get disgusted and run away, and even then, how do you reintroduce them later on, if you want to? This serves to remind the players that they're in control of and the ones who really direct the story and everything that happens in it, and that everything they do has consequences, that their actions matter. If the world and the story do not change in response to the players, how can they be motivated to do anything? Why would they want to? But if the world is constantly adapting to them and what they do, how can they help but to act and change it and see where things go? That's one of the most exciting parts of the game, at least for me. But there's a very specific way that I like to do this. Sure, you could make everything interactable and changeable, and that goes a long way. But what focuses your players in on engaging with the story and engaging with the world? Questions. Make your players ask questions. Make them want to know what's going on. This is very much like a mystery, and so I'll leave a link in the card to my videos on mystery if you want, but for now, let's go back to the previous example of the monster that destroyed the player's village. Maybe when they finally get to the beast's lair, there is no monster. Maybe they find it dead. What killed it? What clues did it leave behind? And what about the scientist player? Why were they tasked with investigating this creature? And what consequences might ensue if they can't? And this goes right in hand with introducing contrivances, plot twists, and things that shake the plot up. They make your players ask questions and hopefully push them forward and into action. As I said earlier, this video isn't going to go into much detail on how to do these things as much as why they work. So if you want to know more about plot twists, I'll direct you to my video all about them. And of course, I can't mention this point without saying to keep things simple, keep it clear, and keep it concise. It can be very easy and very tempting to make everything super complicated and confusing, but few things take your players out of the game more than confusing plot lines, unless of course that's what everyone wants to play. By the way, I mentioned this idea of keeping things simple in greater detail in my videos on adventure hooks, so I'll leave a link in the card to those below if you want to as well. But for now, another example, my players in my current campaign are investigating a huge machine being built by the overall bad guys of the story. They recently saw a prototype of it and caught a glimpse of some of their plans. They know about certain components of it and what they do, but they're still trying to figure out what the machine does overall and why they're trying to build it. I let them see it directly and learn about it outright. I could have kept things super hidden and waited until the last minute, but I kept things simple. And now my players are trying to piece it together little by little as they learn more information. And lastly, ask your players what they want, communicate with them, and find creative ways to work it into the story as best as you can. You might have one character who wants mystery, another who wants dungeon crawl, another who wants a lot of social interaction, and another who wants political intrigue. I'm not saying try to please everyone or mass all of these things together haphazardly, but try to work in as many of these wants into the campaign. Going back to the previous example, with the monster who destroyed the player's village, the mystery isn't trying to find it. Actually going to the dungeon to look for it is the dungeon crawl. You can have a larger evil controlling the monster for the political intrigue element, and all the NPCs your players have to talk to figure it out provides plenty of social interaction. And when your players start laughing, joking, and having fun, let them. Don't interrupt them. Let them roleplay, and join in every now and then if you want. This game is all about having fun after all. And that's it for this week's DM advice. come back next Friday for a video all about keeping campaigns going, come back next Saturday for a new D&D story, and come back next Sunday for a new pixel art time-lapse. I also release shorter pixel art time-lapses, pixel art pieces, and DM advice related short videos almost every single day. If you liked the video, feel free to leave a like, subscribe if you really liked it and want more, and comment down below if you have any feedback, think I missed something, or just want to say hi. I try to respond as often as I can. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed the video and found it useful. Feel free to check out 2 of my previous videos appearing on your screen right about now. And until next time, let's learn something.